Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another Minisode of Stop Shooting on Yourself.
Where we answer a question with a glass of whatever the Cheers.
Cheers.
Ooh, is that coffee today?
It is not. It is tea, but I do have coffee at home.
Oh,
Yes,
finally.
and I had coffee this morning.
Okay. Wow, coffee and tea?
Yeah, coffee and tea.
Dang, it's one of those mornings, huh?
We're getting through it. We're getting through it. Let's just say that.
Okay. Yeah, no, I get that. I'm almost done with mine. I know this is my brown juice, my
Yeah,
caffeine for the
brown
day.
juice.
Yes. I'm almost done. I need a refill too. So I get it. But anyway, what's our question for the day, Jessica?
Okay, so question for today. This is something that a mutual friend is going through, and I'm sure we've all been through this in the past where we either thought it or have consulted someone in it.
Okay.
Should you be friends with an ex?
Are you okay?
Wow.
You're
Triggered.
asking, yes, highly triggered. I say absolutely not.
Okay.
Why the would you want to be friends with an ex? An ex is an ex for a reason. They're in your past. Leave it there. There's absolutely no need to like rekindle anything or even have the past be in your present affecting your future. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
true.
Okay. There's absolutely no reason why you need to keep a past person in your present at all. All right. Like that. You cannot be friends with an ex. Absolutely not. Tell your friend, don't go there. Don't do that. Because what's done is done. And that's it. Like I mean, okay. What is the reason? What is the reason why somebody would want to continue having any type of relationship with an ex? What do you think, Jessica? Because your friend is going through it. What do you think would be the reason?
I would have to agree with you 100%.
Okay.
I personally, I'm not friends with any of my exes. I don't think that there's a
Mm-hmm.
desire to be friends with any of my exes. I actually don't think I know anyone who is still friends with their ex.
Okay.
Unless unless there's like an ulterior motive, like you're not actually wanting to be friends, like there's something like you want to get back together with them or
Mm.
yep, that's the only motive I can think of. um
Yeah.
Personally, I feel like, especially in a relationship, there's just so much history there. Like we're talking
Right.
like the good and the bad, whether it's like mental,
Mm-hmm.
physical, like it's all of it. And I think that in theory, it sounds nice to be friends with an ex. Like,
Right. It sounds very like quote unquote mature is how I think
yeah,
the world
yeah,
packages that, but it's not a matter of being mature or immature.
no, no.
It's it's just like why the I don't know. Like why would you want to do that? Yeah.
Okay, but let's talk about those. Let's not rule it out just yet. Let's talk about why it may be okay
No,
to be
girl, it
friends.
can never be okay. It could literally never be okay ever. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there are different situations. Everyone's relationship is different, and I get it. I've thought of all those possibilities too, I think. I think.
Mm,
But honestly, like you said, it's like, what are the intentions behind keeping an ex as your friend?
yeah.
You might be on good terms and you might be very cordial with them. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like you see them on the streets, you see them at a party, you see them somewhere, you
Yeah.
can be saying like, oh, hey, or not even. You don't have to do that. Nobody owes anyone anything, right?
Mhm.
But you can be friendly or whatnot. But like, there's absolutely no need to actively keep an ex in your life. There's absolutely no need to be like a friend and actively keep that relationship with them. I don't know. I mean, what are you were trying to present some other situations that could possibly give this idea of exes can be friends a thing. I don't know. What were you gonna say?
What if it's like an ex that you had back in high school,
Okay.
and like enough time has passed?
Okay.
Do you think you could be friends with an ex then?
Well, I think it really depends. I think okay, fine, gray zone. I think it is very dependent on the situation and on the circumstance. So when
Okay.
you said high school, right? There might have been a person that you dated in high school or middle school that really wasn't dating. Like
Mm,
maybe you were just with them for 2 weeks as a quote unquote couple, but that's it. Maybe you had an online boyfriend because that was a thing back in the days. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I think
okay,
you're cute
okay.
online. Yeah, I think we should like totally be boyfriend and girlfriend. Like that was a thing. So
But that's not really an ex though. Like that's like I don't even can you even count like a 2-week online relationship like a relationship? Like we're talking about like an ex that you've gone out with for longer than 2
mm.
weeks, but like in high school.
Okay, so then I think it depends on like how you define an ex, right? Like what are you using to define that relationship as an ex? Like
Okay.
sometimes you might have had a very intimate relationship with somebody, but you weren't officially labeled as a couple and you both never
Okay.
decided on that. And yet, when that relationship is over, you might treat them like an ex, right?
That's a good point.
Or it could be that situation like in high school where it's like, oh yeah, you only dated this person for like 2 weeks and it was literally nothing. But I
Mm,
guess it depends on that. I think it really depends on how you draw the line. But me personally, I would say like if it was somebody from high school or middle school that you barely did anything with, no kissing, it was just like, oh, holding hands and like puppy love for what,
okay.
a few weeks. Um, I don't see why not, because we've been in high school since when? Like when did we get out? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
it's
yeah.
been so long, right? And it was literally nothing. We weren't like super intimate in any type of physical, emotional, mental, or spiritual level at all, right? However, I think if you were intimate with that person in high school or middle school and you did have that like very bonding relationship, that close relationship, that I don't care how long it's been, that, you know what I mean? Because the thing is, one person might be like, oh yeah, I could totally be friends, but another person could think, oh well, what if we can get back together as different people now because we've both grown and blah 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 blah. That.
Okay, okay. So intention is obviously very important. I think we've made that very clear. Like
Mm,
if one
yes.
person has the intention of getting back together, like absolutely not.
Right.
But you brought up a kind of okay, a pretty good point where, in high school or in middle school, you might have like sort of dated, but not really because you weren't intimate on that level. What if
Okay.
it's like a one night stand? Both y'all agree that the sex was just horrible. Like, never do it
Okay.
again. Can you be friends?
Are you asking me personally? Because I'm sure a lot of people would disagree with what I'm gonna say.
Well, I'm asking you personally. Like, what would you say?
That I'd be like, bye. For a one night stand and that's it. Nothing further, nothing more. Why would you,
Okay.
I don't know, why be friends with somebody who you literally had a one night stand with? What do you think? What would you do, Jessica, personally?
Personally, I don't have any like past situations to draw from. So who
Okay.
knows? I might act differently if you were to put me in that situation. But I feel like personally, if you're in the same friend group,
Okay.
maybe you vibed and you're like, oh, I can vibe with you on a friend level. We had sex, but it was really bad. I know I'm never going to go back to that again. And
Uh-huh.
y'all mutually agree that it was so bad that you can't
Okay.
agree. And you guys have mutual friends and like, we can get over it.
Okay.
Um, so that's the only situation where I can picture if you guys had a one night stand and if you guys hated it and you guys have mutual friends, then you can get over it. But I really, if it's just like a two people thing,
Uh-huh.
just move on.
True. I don't know. I don't well, okay, the reason why I'm so like hesitant to speak on this right now is because I'm thinking about that situation that you just mentioned, right?
Okay.
Let's say it was that, and you do have like you were all in the same friend group, and then that happened after whatever night, right?
Mhm.
I feel like you can still be friendly with them.
Okay.
And if you're hanging out in the same friend group, you can still like be friendly and all that.
Mhm.
But then what's gonna happen when you do get into a new relationship and then you all start hanging out with your new partner? Like, you know what I mean?
Ooh.
Like how would your partner feel to know that you're still really good friends and you hang out with somebody who you literally
Okay.
and I think it
Okay.
depends on how everyone approaches that. But me personally, I would just think that's kind of weird. Like, why are you
Yeah.
friends? That person be so close of a friend with somebody that they had a physically intimate kind of relationship with, whether it was a one night stand or whether it happened a couple times or whatever,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
That's just kind of weird. Not my thing. Not my thing, you know?
Okay. I can see your point though. I do think that once, like one of you get into a actual relationship, does get into like a really weird thing. And I do
Yeah.
think like most of the time, as much as we can say like, oh, sex could be just sex, although I do feel like that's a whole other podcast we can talk about.
Right.
Some people may think so, but there's always one side that receives it slightly differently.
Mm.
So I can see your point. I can see your point. And again, like I said, I don't have a personal experience to draw from.
Uh-huh.
So if you were to put me in that situation, I might act differently. Not that it's ever going to happen anymore.
Girl, I hope not because that would
So
be
we're good.
considered cheating.
So we're
So,
good.
yeah, I think you're good. I think you're good. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
definitely speaking on like a hypothetical sense right now too.
Right.
Okay, so I don't know if it's just me or the way that I was taught from my parents or even just like the grown-ups around me, but I personally think that like just don't get yourself in any type of situation like that. If you're not going
Mm,
to want to deal with a messy situation, don't get yourself into it. If you see an opportunity, don't take that. You know what I mean? Like if you see an
true.
opportunity to, like up a relationship or like I don't know, have a one night stand with a friend and it's going to get messy, don't take it. If you know it's going to get
Mm,
messy, if you're going to deal with the consequences later of like possibly having to have a completely different relationship with them because you get into a future relationship, and if you're okay with that, then fine, deal with the consequences then. But I don't know. I don't think that you should be getting yourself into any type of like situation like that if you don't have to. Why create a messy situation for yourself?
but I feel like that's a very like, I don't know, sane way of looking at situations. Cause most of the time, like you fall into these situations, right?
No, 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 no. I don't think you fall into the situations because then you're like, then you are taking away that accountability factor from yourself.
Okay,
You're
true,
saying that it
true.
happened to me so that you can relieve yourself of all the responsibilities that you need to take as an adult to say, well, no, I put myself in the situation. I knew what could have happened. I knew what could have like come out from this engagement. Right? But
Okay.
I'm not going to take responsibility, so I'm going to say I fell into the situation. No, you don't fall into it. You see it, you see the window, and sometimes you take it. And when you take it, you know what I mean? Like you fall into that.
So it's
Um,
safe to say you're not friends with any of your exes?
Not like that, no.
Mm.
Um, yeah, because I don't know, like I'm friendly with them if I ever happen to see them. But I don't actively try to keep them in my life. Like I'm not actively responding to their social media stuff. I'm not actively engaging with whatever they post. I'm not actively like texting them from in a holiday and being like, "Oh, how have you been? Just wondering." That. Like I don't need to actively engage myself in their lives and want them to engage in mine either because the past is the past, man. Like there's no grudge that's like held against them or anything, but it's just I don't need to incorporate my past into my present like that.
Yeah, very true. I think One thing we should probably clarify is that when we're talking about, being friends with your ex, I think there's many levels of that, right? Like
Right.
if you see each other or if you're an acquaintance or
Mhm.
if you guys are in the same workplace and you run into each other, like yeah, there's no hard feelings. Like the past is in the past.
Right,
And if you've
right.
moved on, like be cordial with them, say hi, like don't pretend like
Mhm.
they don't exist. Um,
Right.
but I do think like what you said, right? Like actively engaging with them. That's just it's just very weird because where do you draw the line? Like, do you draw the
Right.
line at hi, hello, or do you draw the line at like I'm actively like texting you every other day?
Mhm.
Because I do think that there's a difference with that. But what you're talking about, like actively engaging with them, whether it's texting them or responding to social media, whatever, like you're making an active effort to be friends. But I
Mhm.
do think if you run into them or if you just so happen to be in the same friend group and you guys are all hanging out, it's
Mhm.
okay to be cordial or
Right.
friendly. But also like know where to draw the line. Like if you are there with your new boo, like you guys have gotta have that conversation. Make it
Yeah.
very
Good
clear
point.
who that person used to be.
Mhm.
Um, just so, like, they're not weirded out by however you guys are gonna react to each other too. Um, it's just messy, and I
Yeah.
think that's why I'm also not friends with any of my exes.
Yeah, I think you make a really good point, Jessica. There is something that you said that I want to like kind of go back to where I feel like, you might not be actively seeking out a friendship with your ex, but if your ex is like trying to actively reach out to you, and they continue to do that in one way or another, whether it's social media or texting or through calls or whatever, I think there's a problem. Like you yourself have to like draw that boundary too. Like if
Yeah,
you just
yeah.
let it slide, like, oh, it's harmless, they're just being friendly, then you're not setting those boundaries. And if you're okay with that, you're okay with your ex reaching out to you like that, then okay, that's fine. But I think where it gets really messy is when you do end up with a new relationship and when that still continues, where there's a lack of boundary and you're not setting it for yourself or that other person, and yet you're in a new relationship and your
Yeah.
past keeps creeping up to your present. And I think, and I think that's why I do set like very hardcore boundaries with past relationships. I will not actively do any of those things. And if any of my past relationship peoples try to do that when I'm in a relationship, I will hardcore cut it off. Like I
Mm.
will ignore them. I will probably like not respond to them because where's the need?
Yeah.
What's the point? Because I think some people do respond because they feel like they have to be friendly or because they have mutual friends with them or I don't know, for whatever reason, right? But there's literally no need. You don't owe anybody anything in that way,
Yeah.
especially if you're with another person at the time that your ex is reaching out to you. There's
Totally. And I think we almost put too much pressure in like preserving the good, maybe. Because
mm,
whenever we look back, it's always like, "Oh, it's such a shame because you're with this person,
yeah,
like, a lot of times for years," right? So it's, like,
right.
literally years of history with that person. So, yes, it's a quote, unquote, "shame" that you're no longer friends with that person or you're no longer close with that person, but I think that chapter closed for a reason, and
Hmm.
there's a reason why it needs to stay closed. And if you open it up again, it's just you're asking for past traumas and, past good or bad things to come back into your current life.
Hmm.
And, like you could be mature, you could be the most mature person ever, but you just don't know how you're going to act under certain circumstances. And just because you're mature today and you've done the work today doesn't mean that things from the past doesn't come back and haunt you
Right. Okay.
and doesn't creep back into your life again. So I don't know. I think we're on the same boat. Like, if you're asking yourself that question, like, should I be friends with an ex? From the both of us, it's gonna be a no, like a
Right.
hard no.
Yeah. Yeah. Set those boundaries, girl.
Yeah, set those boundaries. I mean, unless, like you said, like if you guys were online dating for 2 weeks in middle school. Um, but yeah, I mean, just leave it in the past. Just leave it in the past. Like,
Yeah.
especially because if you're fresh out of that relationship and you're wondering, there's some ulterior motive there.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't.
Like, I'm sorry. I'm calling you
Mm-mm.
out.
Yep. Yeah. Like call your friend out, girl. Like, I don't know what she's going through, but if she's thinking about getting back with her ex or trying to, or maybe just even like trying to stay friends with her ex,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, no, just like don't create situations like that for yourself.
Mhm,
Right,
mhm.
Booger?
Yeah.
Yeah, you heard her dog. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my dog
Yep.
agrees.
Yep. Yep. Your dog is like, amen to that shit.
Yeah, you don't need it. Just move on, find someone better.
Yeah, or someone more compatible for you.
Yes.
Because your ex is an ex for a reason, just stuff didn't work out and you have all those good memories and you might cherish whatever you learned and whatever you had with them. Great, but leave it in the past. They're your ex for a reason.
Yes, go find other friends. Better friends.
I know, right? They don't necessarily need to be somebody that you were intimate with, they can be other
Yeah.
friends. Go find other friends.
Yes.
Friends, get other friends. Like it doesn't necessarily need to be somebody that you had a past relationship with. Okay. Like
Yes.
set those boundaries, like know when to be cordial, know when to be friendly, given the situation, because life is messy, but you got to be able to set those boundaries for yourself because who's going to set it for you? Nobody. Like
True.
you have to set that for yourself. Okay. No matter how hard it is, set that shit
Mhm, mhm.
so it doesn't create messy situations for you with your future boo.
Yes.
We don't need any of that because you're looking for that happy relationship, that healthy, happy relationship with your future boo. But how are you going to have
Mhm.
that when you don't set boundaries yourself and you keep having an ex come back to your present? Like
Yes.
it doesn't work. I don't know. Sorry. Set boundaries. Let's do it. It's 2021. Year of boundaries. Let's go.
Cut them off. Cut them off.
I know I cannot personally be complete friends with an ex. I can be friendly, but not
Yes.
friends.
Yes. Agree. 100% agree.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, if you guys are expecting a different answer, I'm sorry, we can't give that to you because neither of us agrees.
Yeah, no.
Um,
I'm sure like some other people have, relationships that are
yeah,
totally fine and it works. But it's just not me. It's just not how I roll. You know what I mean? Like it's just not how I want to live my life and pursue my relationships. But whatever works for you, like you can disagree with us and that's fine, but don't come at us. Okay. Like everyone's different in the way that they lead their relationships, but that's
very
how
true.
I choose to lead mine. Yeah. And that's that.
So that is it from us this week. If you guys
Mhm.
disagree with us, please kindly comment, leave your comment, let us know why you disagree with us. If you guys are friends with an ex, let us know how that's going. I'm gonna snoop a
I
little bit.
know,
Like, let us know how
right?
it's going. Are you guys actually
Yeah.
friends? Or are you guys maybe a little bit more than that?
Pause. Cricket, cricket. Hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's it. I'm gonna not talk myself into another hole there. So
Feel.
yeah, we'll see you guys next week.
See you then. Bye.